optimistic about seeing any sort of change in terms of police action, police brutality, etc.?
Well, this cannot be a group discussion because we did not, I cannot say that the whole group of leadership has discussed it, but I'll share with you that we're not completely happy. But we feel confident that it's going to be a great demonstration, a great assembly, a great expression of our right to free assembly. And we believe that a lot of people will show, and that because people are interested in the issues that are being raised. But more importantly, we're looking forward to the future, that once we're done, the march on the 17th is the beginning, not the end. This whole week we call it a week of action, justice for Victor White. And when the actions we've been having, some of you may have been following us, primarily at the UL Lafayette campus, where we've had several activities. There's one tonight at 6 o'clock regarding Know Your Rights. And so last night, emancipation circles and some other events that we've had have been pretty successful. We're pretty happy with it. We're very happy that the young people, particularly on the college campuses, are engaged, and the word we're hearing in the community. We cannot talk about this issue without getting affirmation from everybody we speak to in this community. That there must be some changes. The question is, how do we step into them and make it happen?
I mean, do you feel like at this point, candidates' activity has kind of blocked this just on the basis that it's election season, that people don't want to wade into a prickly issue from a political standpoint because they don't want to jeopardize their ability to stay in office or get in office?
Yeah, we definitely have not. We've had a lot of neutrality on the part of those running for political office, which is being anticipated and expected. Those people are usually concerned about winning the election. It's our hope, though, that whoever gets elected, that they will stand for justice and they will try to bring about something that will bring peace and calm to our community. No one can ignore the tension with regards to police and community relations at the time. And some of you may remember the Justice Department. We had a presentation at the Light Center here in Lafayette just a couple of months ago, where all of the high-ranking police and law enforcement departments were involved. They called it, and that tells us that they're very much concerned about it as well.
Now, it's my understanding that you guys are calling for the resignation of Sheriff Ackle, is that right?
Let me say that, and maybe Reverend White won't speak to it, but if not, I do have an answer for that.
Yeah.
Sheriff Ackle is not the issue.
Okay.
Sheriff Ackle, it is a system. Now, whenever an individual serves as a superego, whether they're the governor, the president, the mayor, his name gets thrown around. But it's a whole system that we're concerned about. And you've heard and you've reported, many of you, the various concerns with regard to policing in Iberia Parish, with regards to the deaths in the jails. And if there was nothing else other than the Victor White situation, I think this whole community ought to be alarmed about how it is that a young 22-year-old may be involved in a misdemeanor fight, but end up dead in the backseat of a police car with his hands cuffed behind his back. The whole community should be involved about that. And they should all be concerned about that. Sheriff Ackle's name come up because we believe that law enforcement, high-ranking officials have an obligation to be transparent with the community that they serve. We believe that even law enforcement, while they have a great job and a great responsibility in our community, they must be accountable for their actions. So if they mess up, take care of it. But hiding things under the rug, not revealing facts to even family members, that is unacceptable.
There are a lot of parallels, obviously, in that regard in terms of lack of transparency between what's happened in Iberia and Tevin Lewis recently. But we stopped short of calling for Chief Kraft's head. I mean, is there a similar thinking involved there?
That would not be correct, sir. The NAACP had a press conference a month before Tevin Lewis was shot, asking for the resignation. Part of the request was the resignation of Chief Kraft.
Whenever I heard the press, I didn't see that on the release. I guess I misunderstood that.
No. Okay, I'll tell you what. what I remember happening was that because of him taking action, trying to improve the community relation, there was this committee that was stood up, right? A committee that was advisory in nature, had no subpoena power, had no oversight power. So with this, you know, while he made some effort to, so initially, the leadership of Chief Craft was an issue, but you know, that's got nothing to do with Victor White. But I want you to know that, again, whatever names are thrown out there, that's not important. What's important is that there's a system that's called our justice system that does not lead to justice. And that's what we're concerned about. And there are so many other aspects. We could go all over the place with the nature of the injustice. So whether it's disparate policing, not cultural sensitivity in policing, I mean, we could go all over the place. We believe that the death of young Victor White III was a result of a combination of deficiencies in our criminal justice system. And we need and that's why one thing that we're calling for is a broad, comprehensive overhauling, reform of our criminal justice system. It's no different than what President Obama did when he came out a couple of months ago, last month, trying to show to the whole country what the rest of the world already know, the hypocrisy of America of calling itself the land of the free, and we're the most incarcerated population on the planet.
Is there a precedent for being able to do this in a multi-jurisdictional fashion, like being able to come and, you know, establish not necessarily legal oversight or political oversight, but being able to gather, you know, say the sheriff of Iberia Parish, the sheriffs of Lafayette Parish, the sheriffs of Katy Parish, and have this discussion in a more multi-jurisdictional fashion?
Well, we understand that the Justice Department is leading some initiatives. Again, I've attended one with in the Lafayette area. We understand the same thing is happening in the New Iberia area, where the Justice Department, along with the sheriff of that parish and all the city police chiefs and those kind of leadership, they've been forming these committees and then getting community members to join forces with them I'm hoping to reevaluate the situation. I'm hoping to be and move in a consistent manner in which we're demanding, which is a reform of the system.
And who within the Sheriff's Department actually determined the cause of death for Victor White?
The coroner, coroner.
Coroner?
Yes.
And was there an internal investigation once, I mean, is it because of it was determined as a suicide that the police department, or the Sheriff's Department, excuse me, at that point decided not to go further? I mean, my understanding is usually any time a firearm is used, right, I mean, there's going to be some sort of additional investigation into why the firearm was used, so on and so forth. Obviously, this is not, the immediate case, or they're not saying that he was shot directly by the police department, so is that the reason why they wouldn't necessarily have a shoot team? I mean,
let me share with you that all of the questions that you just asked is the reason that we're marching and protesting. Because those answers should be available, readily available. And here it is now, 18 months, 19 months post-incident, and we still have no answers.
And speaking on the system, it was talking about the system, it was a broken system, and we're talking about the system of justice, but it's been the case to officers. See, that's what I've seen across the nation, that it's been the case to officers when the Department of Justice, when these individual bodies that are associated with each other, and when the state police comes in and they investigate the parish, yet and still when it goes to the grand jury, they end up, the DA presents the case, that these officers are found are not held liable or responsible, even though it does happen under their watch in their custody. See? So to me, it's disgusting.
It's multi-layered, by the way. So, for example, Iberia Parish, there are policing agencies that cover the geographical area of Iberia Parish, and the sheriff is one of those investigatory bodies. But the state police has concurrent jurisdiction and can investigate anything in that area as well, and so can any federal agency, right? So apparently there's this hierarchical respect thing going where one department they'll look to the lowest one, a city police, and the sheriff won't come in unless the city police ask him to. No, it should be the citizens who may ask the sheriff to come and do their job, regardless of whether the chief wants it done or not. We shouldn't have to wait for the state police should not wait for a local sheriff to say, hey, can you come help us with this investigation? If the people of this community or a particular community do not believe that they are receiving justice, information, transparency, they ought to be able to approach our state police and have the state police provide some direct insight into what's going on. We're beginning to say, I believe that's going to be the road to follow, and I'm hoping that it is, because when you got this, what do you call it, code blue, where there's this protectionism. It's no different than any other profession. We see protectionism, whether it comes to doctors, not wanting to testify against other doctors in malpractice cases. Same thing with the police officers. Well, we're all police officers, so we're gonna protect each other. And some people may want to, but then they fear reprisal, loss of job, and they have families to raise too. So, we have one federal law called the Whistleblowers Act, right? So, in any agency, if I blow the whistle on somebody doing something illegal, I can receive some federal protection. Yes, but that comes after a couple of years of litigation. So I think we need to strengthen, and while we have done, we have tremendous ethical laws, but they don't seem the way that they're worded to be able to strengthen the ethical process of policing particularly in our area here in South Louisiana.
First, Reverend White and then Reverend Melton. Do you feel that the week of action is doing just what you guys intended, to call attention to Victor's death?
Sure, I really believe that. We really appreciate the coordinators of Justice for Victor White, the third police brutality committee, because they did a wonderful job. And we're well pleased with what is going on, that the individuals that are coming out, the dialogue that is taking place, and we can see that we're moving in a positive direction for change.
Because I agree. Of course, I would like to say and encourage all of the viewing audience that if there's going to be a change, it's going to be up to us. It's going to be up to you. And of course, what we would like to have is more people concerned about the issue, because if the people demand it, it's going to happen. If we speak it into existence, it's going to happen. But many people are in a sense of hopelessness. They don't think any change is going to happen, so they stay at home. But we're encouraging everyone to come out to the march on Saturday morning, this Saturday morning at 11 a.m. In New Iberia, at Maine and Iberia, where at the assembly area, and that we might involve ourselves in a peaceful protest, exercising our right of assembly, seeking change and justice for Victor White. Can I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So, we encourage everyone to go to our webpage, of course, Justice for Victor White. And there you'll find our mission statement, our vision statement. You'll also find some of the bullet points that are involved with regards to our demand. So, this week of action, which really ends actually on Sunday, we're asking all of the churches, all communal gatherings, that they pay some attention to the fact that we need a healing. And so we're calling for a community healing with regards to police community relations, that we might have some time to reflect upon what it is that anyone can do to make sure that if their children ever encounter the police, regardless of their circumstances, that they don't have to worry about them dying, that they don't have to worry about them getting shot in the back, that they don't have to worry about them being abused or brutalized as a result of some confrontation that might ensue. We believe that by educating both the police and the citizenry, that we can substantially reduce the friction that exists between the police and between the citizens of this community. So some of these, we're hoping that to develop a full-fledged scheme. There are movements all over the country, and I can't see why Southwest Louisiana should not be part of that movement. That many communities are looking at how can we reform. They ask the question, why? Why does it keep happening? You see, anybody can flick on their phones, their smartphone, and see all of Facebook. They can see all kinds of controversy between a policeman beating on someone, sometimes 12 years old, sometimes female, sometimes pregnant. And it's like, why is this happening and why is it continuing? We believe because of many of the laws that exist, police officers feel okay in doing it. Why would there be a police officer's Bill of Rights that says that if they're accused of brutalizing someone or committing a crime, that they have 10 days that they don't have to talk? That they have a whole set of rights that are way far advanced than any other citizen who may have committed a crime. That doesn't make sense to me. That's illogical, because you would think that the police officers, who are the ones who are supposed to tell you what your rights are when we stop you, they would already know what their rights would be. But yet we put in place a whole set of laws that protect them. And then, if they do something wrong, and even if it's on video, all of the sites, all of the events you already know about, even if it's on video, we have qualified immunity. He was acting in the performance of his duty, and unless this high burden that is required to create, to impose upon them financial sanctions. Look, when black people could not go into an all-white restaurant, it wasn't until a sanction was put into place where I could sue you for discriminating against me that broke that up. Same thing with the laws that protect police officers. I have no problem with many police officers are my friends, but I think even they, the good police officers, are more victimized by bad police officers than anybody else. So I think that as a whole, we ought to look for ways, and we're hoping to join forces with legislators who may be able to have the intestinal fortitude to do like other legislators in other states who are now beginning to pass laws and that kind of brings balance, right? In Louisiana, we passed the Victims' Rights Amendment about 15 years ago, giving victims some rights, because all the rights they said were going to someone accused of a crime, but the victims had no rights. Well, one of the things that's required in the Victims' Rights Amendment, this is the Louisiana Constitutional Amendment, is that there must be notice given to the victim at every stage of the prosecution. Because before that, someone would be victimized, and they wouldn't even know what happened. Next thing they know, the case has been dismissed. Well, what about victims of police brutality? 19 months later, and they have no rights to know what is happening at every stage, if there is a stage. This is what makes this case ridiculous. And it's a poster child for what not ought to happen in policing in any community. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed about the lack of outrage. There's some outrage in the community, but not what it ought to be. And I'm hoping that no one has to wait until something happens to their children before they get outraged. Because that's normally what happens. That's when we get the complaints. We get the complaint that something happened to that child. Well, it takes a village to raise a child, and I'm sitting here with Victor White, all of the committees here with Victor White, because we see Victor White III as our child.
Any other questions? If not, well, thank you so much.
Thank y'all for coming. We appreciate y'all.
Thanks for coming.